welcome to the Trauma Flavored Chapters. I'm your host, Serenity, and I'm so excited you're here today. This is a place where I share my past and present chapters with you completely unfiltered. There are no filters here. If this is a chapter that you aren't currently connecting with, I really hope it helps you connect to your loved ones on a deeper understanding so you can kind of understand what they're going through. Any hoodles. This chapter is not about me. This is actually a chapter about my best friend. She is absolutely amazing, so funny. She brings out pure inner child energy. She is one of my friendships that I manifested into my life, and I am so excited for you to get to meet her and connect with her today. This chapter is going to be more about grandparent trauma, and that's actually a chapter that I have never experienced before. And I've always wanted to ask someone about it and get a better understanding within it because I've never experienced it. We will also be talking about passion. We will just be getting to know Cassie on a deeper level. So please welcome Cassie Snow. Hello and welcome back. This is our second guest episode with Cassie Snow, my best friend. Hey girl, hey. I'm so excited for today's episode. Hop into all of your trauma. I just want to get into the nitty gritty of it. Oh yeah. Oh, why am I here? Oh yeah, that's why I'm here. Oh shit, I want to go now. So yeah, let's just get into like a little intro for you. Tell us some things that we need to know before we hop into the nitty gritty.
My professional life, that part of my life is I'm an early childhood special education teacher.
Snaps.
So I deal with a lot in my work life, but in my personal life, I like to just be at home with my fiance and my cats and not deal with children at this time. So that's nice.
You said simple things.
Simple
well, you do have
days.
3 cats that are assholes sometimes.
So they're kind of like kids, but
yeah,
at least, I don't have to worry about them
doing as much, talking back.
Well, talking back.
Guzman, Gustafer.
Gustafer. And then, I moved to Maui again. I just moved back 3 years ago. I think almost 3 years that I've been back on island, and met my fiance here, and we're gonna get married next year.
Show us the ring.
And so that's an exciting chapter of my life right now.
That's a very new and fresh chapter. Congratulations.
Yeah, lots of confusing chapters happening right now. We'll get into that. But that's been the most exciting one, I think. Right now.
Fiance just became a fiance. Yeah. I got the call. I was so fucking excited. I was like, oh my god, what? They called me when they were at dinner. I was like, why are you guys FaceTiming me at like 8 p.m.? I was like, what is going on? And you're like, I was
like, we just set our save the dates out yesterday. I'm not gonna disclose that information.
Yeah, you guys, you don't get to know. Just kidding.
It's such an exclusive event. I could never.
Well, also being on Maui, if someone wanted to find it,
they're gonna find out.
They're like, I want to come to the wedding. We're all coming right now. It's happening. You're
like my biggest fear is that random people are gonna show up, and I'm like, why?
I'll be your bodyguard. Don't worry. I'll just body slam people. It's okay.
It's not happening. But anyway,
you said my biggest fear is randos showing up. Anyway. I just bring all the randos.
You just bring all your friends.
I'll be like, I know every single person. Come on, guys, let's go. Let's go crash this fucking wedding crashers. Fucking.
You said crash weddings.
You said I swear to fucking God.
Because weddings are expensive, and no one wants you there if you're not supposed to be there. Okay.
All right. God.
You know who you are. Anyway.
You know who you are. Get your shit together.
Anyway. Something else to know about me that's kind of relevant. I have ADHD and attentive type. So if I go off on a weird ass tangent or get distracted by something, that's probably why.
That makes sense.
That's a disclaimer.
That's a disclaimer. That I don't know why that like surprised me because I feel like I should have known that. I feel like I do know that, but I got
diagnosed as an adult.
I didn't know you got diagnosed.
I did.
Oh, can you diagnose me? Because I swear I got the same thing.
I'm not a licensed psychiatrist, so unfortunately I cannot diagnose you. But
damn.
I can unofficially diagnose you if you'd like. But
yeah, unofficially. What am I? Who am I?
We'll just go with ADHD.
Okay, perfect. I assume so. I feel like I've met a lot of people and they're like, "You're definitely ADHD." I'm like, no, I was like, I did forget 3 different things and I just restarted them all at once. Makes sense. I was like,
but yeah, that's kind of relevant.
yeah,
So I don't know. Maybe in the future we can talk about that in
ADHD.
a different episode,
Yeah,
ADHD,
we
and
can
functioning as an adult.
that we
That's kind
can
of fun.
that is kind of fun because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that too. And like my brother struggles with that, and he just got like medicated, and he's like, "Oh my god, this makes like a huge fucking difference." And I was
Hmm.
like, "Do I need to?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah. I was medicated through grad school after I got diagnosed, but after I wasn't in
"Oh,
school anymore, I didn't want to
oh my god, sorry,
have. I didn't want to
sorry."
be medicated anymore in my regular life, I
Yeah,
guess, because I felt
you
like
want to live your life
I
fucking
want to
authentic
just,
and spicy.
yeah. I was like, in school you got to lock in, but in
Yeah.
life you can fuck
Fucking be
around a little bit.
spicy. I love like my ADHD because I feel like freaking Low definitely has it too. I think most of my friends that I click with really well, you guys like understand my brain and can actually hold a conversation with
Mhm.
me because I'm like, you want to talk about 30 different things all at once, and you're like,
Mhm.
fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah, and then my fiance also has ADHD. So that's really fun.
Yeah,
Our
all three of
house
us
is kind of a
together.
chaotic mess, but that's okay.
No, it's so fun. They have
Mhm.
like that's the other thing is like you guys bring like my inner child out like no one fucking else. Like
Yeah.
it's so much fun to hang out with you guys. Like I go over to their house and we play fucking rock band. Literally for St. Patrick's Day we did rock band and you made
We ate
shepherd's
shepherd's
pie
pie.
and freaking we did hot chocolate and Bailey's. Like we
Yeah.
just like have the most like inner child fun and then like Eric they have like a nerd room and he just fucking jams out. Like it's
Yeah.
just
We don't limit ourselves by our age.
yeah,
You
you
know,
guys are like very
I
authentic.
recently got really excited about buying a fuse bead. If you
Oh,
know, you know.
fuck yeah.
Kit at Goodwill for $4, the whole thing with a little
Yes.
iron included.
Shit.
Um,
Yeah.
and I made fuse bead art for a night, and I haven't done it since. That's on ADHD, but I was really
we
excited
we
about it.
we start things, we conquer it, and then we go, all right, I'm bored.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it's
that's like us
on to
with
the
our
next.
Lego phase. Like I'm like kind of exiting my Lego phase.
Yeah, I have about 5 different crafts that I started and didn't finish. So
Yeah, that just
maybe one day.
yeah, maybe that's like reading. Maybe one day we'll just restart it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe one day.
We go through phases. We got friggin' we haven't used it yet, but we got a sewing kit
We
or a
bought a
sewing
sewing
machine. We
machine.
got not even a kit, a
We
sewing
bought that
machine,
in January
and
off
it's
Facebook Marketplace, and we have
and it's
yet to
smart.
even plug it into the wall and turn it on.
I took it out of the box.
Yeah, she took it out of the box once and
We have
looked at it and then put it back in the box. And
and
it's at
then
my house and it hasn't been used.
it's a little intimidating. It's a little
Yeah,
intimidating.
we did set aside some clothes we thought we were
I
going to
literally have
do
a pile
things
of
to,
clothes at my house too of
but
like
we have
what.
yet to commit to that. So
Yeah, ADHD friends. We
yeah.
honestly, I think we start so many hobbies and we have so many fun things that we do, and I like really enjoy that within our friendship because we just are like, let's do this, let's go out and do this, or like let's go
Hmm.
eat this. Like we don't really limit ourselves in the ways of like
Yeah.
what we eat or what we do or
Yeah, we usually just meet up on Saturdays and go what we call town. If you're not
yes,
from Maui,
town.
then
Yeah.
you probably don't know what that means. But all the Maui listeners, we go to town
We go to
and we
town
just fuck around.
and we go to Target. We
Usually
go
it's
to
Target, RAP Target right now.
yeah, our Target flooded.
Yeah.
So we're waiting for Target to start back up.
Yeah, that's our
But
usual spot. I feel like we always go
yeah,
to
we go to
Target.
Target, witch shops. We go to witch shops together. We just got into witchy stuff.
Yeah,
I
we
was
just
like,
got into witchy stuff. She took me to the witch shop in Haiku.
yes.
And I'm gonna take her to the witch shop in Makawao.
I'm so excited.
Um,
That's been like a really fun thing for me, like, because
mhm.
I feel like I don't always have friends that are into super witchy things. And when I first met you, I was like, oh, it doesn't seem like she's into like witchy stuff. And then I like showed you my tarot cards, and you're like, can you do a reading for me? And I was like, oh my god, do we just gonna be more best friends? I was like,
love
what?
stuff like that.
It's so fun.
You know, I think it's fun. I got my own tarot deck, and I do it all the time.
Yeah, I took her to the
now. I do it
shop.
every month,
Yes.
and it's really fun.
The tarot deck she picked out too, like, suits her so perfectly,
It's little
and
forest animals.
it's so
cute.
cute. The little bears and stuff are just adorable.
They're really cute. So I'm very happy about that. Getting to that, and then
Yes.
going to the witch shops and looking at all the stuff is really fun.
All the
So.
and you like your candles. She started an
Yes.
altar. We got her an altar
Mhm.
started. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been
We're that's one of the things that's fun about our friendship is that we look for portals.
Yeah, that was our winter solstice.
Oh,
thing,
so we gotta
right?
start a new
we need
thing.
to look at the book and figure out what the spring.
Yeah, I have a witch
mission
book that
is.
goes through like the seasons and like tells you like some ideas. Like one was like building your own wand out of like sticks that you find in the forest, and like our winter one was we were always looking for portals. So we would take pictures and send them to each other. Like that's a portal, but we stay away from it because we don't want to go anywhere. We want to stay together. We want to stay at the same planet. But
you'd have to look at to see what the spring activities
Yeah.
are, even though it's still kind of
wintry
gloomy,
here for us.
rainy here.
Yeah.
But soon we need to go through the walk through the forest and do some spring witch stuff.
Yeah, we gotta start our spring witchy thing. So yeah, that's a little bit about our like friendship and about Cassie. I want to start like around your childhood. Like, what did your? I want to know what your childhood felt like. Like, what did the atmosphere feel like? What were your parents like? I kind of want to get like the whole picture of your all that of your childhood.
Yeah. Well, my dad was in the military. He just recently retired a few years ago. Congrats, Dad.
Congrats, Dad. I haven't met you yet.
He was in the military, so we moved around like every 2 years from when I was born till I was in 3rd grade is when we finally settled and stayed in a spot for till I graduated high school.
Oh wow, okay.
So we moved from different places around the United States for the first while of my life. So our family of 4 is just very family centered because we'd always move around and you don't live close to extended family, or you don't get to choose whether or not you live close to extended family for that amount of time. So we're a very tight knit family. My dad did a deployment when I was in 1st grade, I think it was, to Iraq. So it was just me, my sister, and my mom for like 9 months while he was over there. I was so little that I don't think I really realized the weight of the situation, but I can only imagine how stressful that was for my mother. So shout out to her.
Shout out to Mom.
That was he did 3 deployments in his time in the military. That was his first one.
Got it.
But then finally my dad actually decided to get out of the Air Force, and so we ended up moving to Texas because that's where my grandparents, one set of grandparents lived, and my aunts and stuff all lived there too, so we could be close to family. So in 3rd grade we moved out to Texas, and that's where we stayed all the way until I graduated high school. And then my dad got back into the military after that, but he got out of the Air Force for a short time. So that's when we finally settled down, is when I was in 3rd grade, and that's where I like got to build friendships and like go through regular childhood in that regard. But every summer we'd go to my grandparents' house in Texas, regardless if we lived in Texas or not. When we didn't live in Texas, our parents would drive us there, drop us off for like a month, and they just leave us with my grandparents.
Oh, that's a good chunk of time too for as a kid. That's probably like feels like years as a kid.
We used to do all kinds of stuff. My grandparents live out in the middle of nowhere in Central Texas.
Texas
is so big, and I'm like, I don't really know.
You said I was somewhere
in Texas for sure. In a small town called Hillsboro, Texas is where they live, or like Whitney, Texas. They're kind of like the same thing. They're 2 separate towns, but whatever.
You said
in the middle of nowhere, country roads. So we would just no Wi-Fi at all, only a landline, and one computer. So we were outside, fucking around, having fun,
rolling in dirt,
going and like driving. The nearest movie theater was like 45 minutes away. We go to movies. She'd take us to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, fun!
We had a good girl box. Was like prizes that if we were good, we got like have a prize. It was great.
What set of grandparents is this?
That's my dad's mom and dad.
Okay.
And then my aunt lived with my grandparents at the same home.
Okay. And that's your dad's sister.
That's my dad's sister.
Okay.
Yeah, so my aunt lived there also.
And then during the summers, would your parents like drop you off one summer at this grandparent's house, and then like how did that work?
No. So my other set of grandparents, my mom's parents, they actually at that until I was in 4th grade, they actually lived in Alaska.
Oh, yeah.
So we did not see them very often. I actually really don't have any strong memories with them until they moved to Texas.
And about
when
how
I was
old?
in 4th grade.
Okay, 4th grade.
But they kind of came in later in life because they were so far away. And we visited them when I was really little to Alaska.
Okay.
But they lived there at the time, so we didn't see them. It's not like we
Okay.
got sent to Alaska for the summer or anything like
Got
that.
it.
But we did go to Texas with my dad's parents,
And
and
when
my
did you?
aunt lived there also.
Yeah.
And then there was this family friend, the Boyds, Joe Bob and Sue Boyd. They lived
Oh.
down the road, and
Oh.
he was a farmer and a pastor.
Why is this so
So
freaking cute? Oh
so
my
we would
god, this is a
go,
movie.
and they had a granddaughter named Reagan who was the same age as me, and my sister's only 2 years older. So we would go and we'd play with her on their farmland, and so we would jump hay bales, and they had a cow that they had raised from a calf, and so we got to
Oh.
ride the cow.
Oh, that's so cute.
We'd ride around on the 4-wheeler all around. We'd swim in the cow tanks, which a cow tank is like a pond that the cows drink out of. It's really disgusting because cows definitely shit in there, but we would swim in it.
Well, that's the part about being a kid on a farm and like
And
growing up. Like, I think that's good for you.
That's
Make
where
you stronger.
like my farm country side comes
from.
out. Is
Yeah.
that we'd sell watermelons on the side of the road.
Oh.
So that was really fun. So we had a friend there. Then we all just like would
Go
mess
for there for the
around
summers.
and play in the mud and
then
have
how old
fun
were you
and-
when you first started going for summers, like at your
I
grandparents?
actually don't know what age.
But
we
this
first
is just
went.
from the like beginning of time for you.
I just as long as I can remember, we
I
went
love
and
that.
got dropped off there.
So what is it like what were your parents and like grandparents specifically like when you were like imagine like being at home like what how did your like parents support you, like what are their personalities kind of like, or
well, my dad has always been the one who was working all the time, was in the military, went on deployments and stuff.
And what's his name again?
His name's Ed.
Eddie.
Hey,
Eddie.
And then my mom, her name is Beth.
Eddie and Beth, I'm gonna cry.
They are high school sweethearts.
Yes. Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
So I have a very like, I guess if you're like picture perfect family of like family of 4, they've been together.
Eddie
since,
and Beth.
Yeah, like
since high school.
No family drama in our family of 4. It's very like cookie cutter family, American family stuff. My mom, she stayed at home with us when we were younger, but when we got into school, she got a job. I think just to obviously for extra income sake, but also just to have her own,
something to do.
Something to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was always like our main caretaker because Dad was always working full time, and I mean my dad's kind of just chill dude.
He's just a chill guy.
Yeah, chill dude.
Well, Eddie sounds like a chill man.
He's a chill guy. And then my mom, we're really close. I've always been a mommy's girl since the beginning of time.
Oh yeah, I see them on their phone calls. I see them on their phone. I always try to like I budget and I go, "Hey mom, hey."
Prior to me dating and now being engaged to my fiance, I would FaceTime my mom every single day.
You're like, I thought you still do.
No, not every single day anymore. I do have a niece now that just sounds about. She is like top priority in my parents' lives because they help take care of her.
Well, that's not that's not weird at all.
I mean, I'm not saying like, oh, my parents like ditched me or anything.
You said they ditched me. You said I feel neglected.
Now that I'm in like I'm older and I have my own
daughter,
family, basically starting with my fiance and everything. That I don't need to, I was really alone when it was just me and I was living in Oregon. And
also you're her youngest daughter, like you want to make sure she's support, but then also like your sister lives close by with them.
She lives close by, so but I would FaceTime my mom every single day.
I love that.
Even when I went to University of Utah.
Yeah.
And that's like 50 minutes away from where my parents live. I would still FaceTime my mom every night in college.
Honestly, if my mom was still here, I'd probably do the same fucking thing. Like
I would drive down. I would drive every weekend. Like Friday after my last class, I'd drive down.
And you're like
to go. That was my first year of college because my next years of college, I actually was a commuter student, so I lived at my parents' house to save money and would commute to school.
Got it.
But
so
my
you just
first
always
year in the dorms, every Friday after class, I'd be driving back down to like spend the
it's just so nice that you have like a healthy relationship with your family, and it sounds like from like stories that I've heard, if like shit needs to be talked about, you're like, what the fuck is up? And like you guys have just such a close like bond and relationship, and it shows that they did like such a good job raising you guys, because if
Mhm.
they didn't raise, because I have like beef with my biological dad and all
Mhm.
that stuff. It's like when you have beef with your parents, it's like you're not going to be driving home after college. You're not going to be calling them every day. And like
Yeah.
for them to do such a good job at like raising you and like creating a healthy environment for you, it seems just like, as your friend just watching it, it seems like they gave you a true platform to like flourish and
Mhm.
like support you and like what you need. Oh yeah, that was the other thing that I wanted to bring up with your childhood, because I remember you mentioning this, is like your passion of being a teacher,
Mhm.
of like how did your parents like support you in that specifically?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I had a really vivid imagination.
Hmm.
My play was like narratives in my head of like situation. I would go outside and play prairie woman. I would tie
Oh
like a
my
blanket around
god.
my. I would like take a belt and like take multiple blankets to make it like puffy, like
Oh my
like a
gosh.
actual dress like they used to wear.
Yeah.
And I would frolic around the backyard
Oh my
and just talk to people who weren't there
god. Oh
and
my
like
god.
make narratives up in my
So you had
head.
imaginary best friends too?
It wasn't like imaginary friends. It was like, when you're like
Just
doing
having,
imaginative
yeah.
play and you're like pretending you're talking to
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
to like oh and
You're
like
like, hello,
oh yeah like oh I'm
sir.
gonna go to the market.
I'm gonna go to
So
the
I
market.
would like frolic in my backyard or I would be in my room. I'd play with my Barbies a lot when I was younger. I
Mhm.
used to cut their hair when
So I used to terrorize Barbies.
they sorry to my niece, she has like no Barbies from my childhood that are do not look like they were scalped. But anyway,
You said
uh,
I scout, so I scalp Barbies and
yes.
I play Prairie Robot.
But yeah, I was, and this went on like I'd play with my Barbies when I was younger, but I had a chalkboard in my room,
Mhm.
and so I'd play teacher. So I would obviously pretend my students were there and like
Yeah.
use the board, but I'd also take like a notebook and like write a bunch of tests, like fake tests, and
Oh
pass
my
them out.
gosh.
And then I would pick them all
Whoa.
up really quickly, fill them out, and pass them back out, and then pick them back up and grade
Oh
them
my.
all.
Oh
So
my.
like I
You
would play
were like
teacher like pretty
in depth.
in depth. Yeah, I have a very vivid imagination. Still do. Still
Yeah.
sometimes make up fake
Oh yeah.
like
No, we've
dramas.
we've.
I love to make up a drama while I'm like, or when I'm making my coffee, love to pretend I'm a Starbucks barista. Like that was like my thing. Like, what can I get you today? Like just making my morning coffee. Like chill out, girl.
He
I
said.
still have a very vivid imagination. So that's fun.
You
But
said
as
you
a kid,
you be making your coffee.
no,
You said order
literally,
up for what does this say? Cassie
yeah,
Cassie who? Okay.
yeah. Oh, and I love when I'm feeding the cats. I'm like, I got three large sniblets here. Like, order up. Like, I love that. I love pretending jobs that I'm not. I mean, I'm a teacher now, so I don't have to pretend that. I do it
Yeah.
every day.
You said
Um,
I manifested
yeah.
that.
But I still like to pretend other things. But when I was a kid, pretend play was
The biggest
my
thing.
shit. Yeah.
Your family dynamic, I find it fascinating because it is so unique and like close, and it's
Mm-hmm.
very like healthy for you to want to like have them like
Yeah.
stay at your house here, or even you go
Yeah.
back home. Like you have a very very close dynamic, and I feel like I have a close, but it's nothing's
Yeah,
very
yeah. I
very
mean,
different.
I would always go back home for Thanksgiving and Christmas and like make a trip once a year. They'd come out here.
Mhm.
And everything kind of upped the ante when my niece was born. So that kind of changed everything too, meaning like I wanted to visit consistently so I could see
Yeah,
her
so you
cuz
can
now
see
it's
her.
like I want to go. I love my family. Obviously.
Yeah,
I love my parents.
you
I
have an
love my
extra
sister. But
reason.
I mostly am excited when I go. I'm mostly excited that I get to like be in person auntie for like
Yeah,
a couple weeks while I'm
and
there.
check
Versus
in.
like
Yeah,
I call myself the phone lady.
the phone lady.
And she's really excited to see me on the phone. But it's like going there and actually get to hold her and play with her and tickle her is
And
like
just
way
all the
more fun.
things. Yeah.
So that's fun.
And
But I
especially having a
also
close relationship with your sister and family. Now
yes.
it's like creating that bond with your niece.
Yeah, exactly. So it is really fun. When I found out my sister was pregnant, I thought about, and this was before I met
Yeah.
my fiance.
Yeah.
I thought about maybe moving back to Utah so I could be close by.
Mhm.
But then I met Eric, and I was like, this thought process of, well, she's not my child. Like, my niece is not my
Yes.
child. I can't base my life around her life. I love
Mm.
her. She's so
Yes.
cute. Love her to death, but she's my sister's child.
I feel like that's such a
And
good point to bring up.
I don't need to be there to see everything all the time.
Mhm.
So I stayed. Obviously, me and Eric's relationship grew, and now we're getting married. Um, and I'm very glad I did that, because I probably would be in Utah right now. I get to see my niece every day, certainly, but
Yeah.
would I have a significant other? I don't know.
Yeah. Where would Eric
Would
be?
I put myself out there? I don't
Yeah.
know. Would I have gotten back into dance? Probably not. So
Yeah.
you kind of have
You've been able to
to,
flourish in your own
yeah, you
life.
have to take yourself out of the mindset of like family comes first in that regard. Like,
Mm.
you have to build, if you want your own family, you have to put in the work to like get your own
Ooh.
family, right?
Ooh, snaps. Ooh,
Right.
ooh,
So
snaps.
like, I could have moved back to Utah and been right there for my niece, but would
Yeah.
I have my basically beyond the one way
Yeah.
trip to my own family dynamic?
Probably
No.
not. That's such a
Like,
good, because I feel like that is amazing advice for people, because I don't have
mhm,
that perspective at all, because I don't have that close of a family. I have close family,
mhm.
nothing
Yeah.
remotely as close to yours. And I think that is such like amazing advice for the people out there that have really, really close knit families, that have a family like Cassie's, of like having the advice of living your life for you, but also like how are you coexisting with your family but thinking about your own life, and like
Mhm.
how you said about your niece, of being like, yeah, I fucking love my niece and I want to be there every day, but am I going to sacrifice like my life and my like life trajectory to be close to my family when I can still do that but in a different way?
Mhm. Yeah, so you kind of just, I mean, you got to figure out what's best for you, I
Yeah.
think. And it's possible, if I had never met Eric, that I would most likely be in Utah
Yeah. Yeah,
next to my
we've
family.
talked about this before. I'm like,
Um
I wouldn't have met you.
yeah, and like, my life would look totally different, certainly, and you never know what your life's going to look like, but
Yeah.
if it's right for you in that time, perfect, but if you think it's going to actually hold you back from your own life, I wouldn't I wouldn't
You wouldn't do
just
that.
be close to family just to be close to family. You
Yeah.
know what I
I feel
mean?
like that's such a healthy, like I keep saying, you
Yeah.
have such a healthy dynamic, Jesus,
Hmm.
and perspective of it, of being like, if this is going to negatively impact me just because I want it, because I think about like if my mom was alive, I kind of think, and for a fact, I don't think I would have ever moved here. I would never
Hmm.
leave her side. I would be glued to that woman. And
Hmm.
I feel like it might have been a little unhealthy. And so for you to be like, okay, is this going to negatively impact my life just because I want to be close to my family and to
Hmm.
have that bond be
Yeah.
inseparable? And you're like, okay, let's look at this a little bit differently. I want to find
Hmm.
my husband. I want to have my own life and
Hmm.
family, like,
Yeah.
I want to say compound, but
Family units.
thank you,
Yeah.
unit. Compound sounds a little scary. But yeah, definitely like such an interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's just really exciting that now I have my own family unit, and the reason I don't FaceTime my mom every day anymore is
Yeah,
because she's aware and I'm aware that like I've got my
you have your
stuff
family.
going
Yeah.
on, like, and me and Eric's priorities are each other and
Hmm.
building our family and our relationship, and we live together, and just building our household, and we eventually want kids too, so that requires a strong foundation
Foundation, yeah.
and strong understanding of what you want your household to be. I guess me and my mom are kind of in a phase right now where I think she's kind of coping with the fact that I have my own stuff going on,
Hmm.
and then I'm kind of coping with the fact that I'm like, and again, it's gonna sound bad, I'm not like her little girl anymore, and like
Yeah.
my niece is like the little girl now, not
Yeah, yeah.
me. So it's like interesting
You're like
little
kind of the dynamics are
dynamic.
shifting.
Yeah,
Like,
going from being the baby, I'm the baby in all aspects of my family. I'm the youngest grandchild
yeah.
on my dad's side, the youngest grandchild on my mom's side,
Mhm.
the youngest child in my family. I'm the ultimate like baby.
Yeah.
So when my niece came along, it was kind of like giving my crown to
Oh,
her
wait.
of like being like the
So there you
baby.
go. Yeah.
Which I guess it kind of worked out at like a perfect time for me to kind of be able to not distance myself from like, oh, I don't want to be
And
around
you
you
say,
guys
ew,
anymore,
gross.
but
Yeah.
like distance myself from being like
In a different
viewed
manner.
as like still a dependent upon my parents.
Yeah. It's like kind of
I'm
shifted
I'm like
everything.
doing my own thing over here. And me and Eric have talked about when we decide we want to have kids, or have kids, that we want to move maybe to the mainland
Hmm.
to um,
Be closer.
be closer to my parents, but also still close to his parents, like a good middle
Mm.
ground. Not living in Utah, but like living
Just a middle
probably in
ground.
Oregon or Washington, depending,
Yeah.
because we both like those states. And just kind of having a middle
Have,
ground for our
well, also it'd
families,
be
but
easier.
also
Yeah.
just having a place where to grow our family to
Yeah.
kind of
Having
our
your
own.
own kind of like
Yeah.
foundation.
So.
I do want to hop into some more heavier
Mm-hmm.
trauma. So we got the foundation of like what you were like when you were little, playing teacher, how it's grown into your life
Mm-hmm.
now, your passions, and what your family dynamic more looks like, of your mom being very supportive and your dad being very supportive of you and encouraging. But I do want to hop into, we were talking about earlier, your grandparent foundation. They are
Mm-hmm.
a huge, huge, huge part of your life. You both sets of grandparents, which I feel like is not always common in the ways of being super close with both of them. Because I've heard families that are either close with either
Yeah.
or not at all. And in my
Mm-hmm.
case, it's kind of not at all. And so
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get a perspective of your life with them in a very deep connective manner, and
Mm-hmm.
how that has transitioned now into your life.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when we were kids, we'd spend like a good portion of the summer at my dad's parents' house in
Mhm.
Texas, and then my mom's parents, they lived in Alaska for up until I was in fourth grade, and then they moved like 15 minutes away from us. Like they like rejoined. They weren't like absent grandparents by
Yeah,
any
yeah,
means.
yeah.
It's just like distance is hard for kids to comprehend,
Exactly.
I think. And if someone's not there right in front of your face, you kind of are like, you can't really be that close with them.
Well, you're a kid, your
And especially if we're
attention
thinking
span
about
too.
like the time period of which I was a child of that age, like FaceTime wasn't a thing.
Yep.
Um, I mean, there was Skype, but who's Skyping their grandparents? like,
Ew, who's Skyping your
I mean, like
grandparents?
who's Skyping their grandparents? And we wouldn't like talk on the phone or anything, but like
Yeah.
that time period, it wasn't like you could access people as quickly. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
FaceTime my niece all the time, and that's why I call
It's,
myself the phone lady.
yeah, yeah.
So like that's her childhood. Is like she can access any of her
Anyone,
family
yeah,
members via
anytime she
FaceTime
wants.
anytime.
Yeah.
So my mom's parents moved to our town in Texas when I was in fourth grade. Kind of, I don't know why that decision was made. I think they were
Mhm.
getting older and they wanted to not be so far away from family. I've never really like dove into the reason why
Yeah.
they moved out there. So then it was like suddenly your other grandparents are here
You're like,
and you're gonna
surprise.
ride the bus to Nana's house. And I
You're
was like,
like,
what?
huh? You're like, excuse
Huh?
me?
So it was kind of awkward at first because
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, I was a fourth grader, so you're kind of in that like a little bit kind
Phase,
of
yeah.
like 10-year-old angst. I don't even know how old I was in fourth grade. I think I was like 9. Anyway,
I was like,
but
yeah.
you're kind of like, I don't really know you
Yeah.
that well.
Well, also you're so,
I wasn't an outgoing child where I was
yeah.
like, I love you, Grandma. Like,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay.
You're like, hey, what's up,
I
grandma?
mean, my grandma, my Nana, we call her Nana. She's kind of a quirky lady, kind
Yeah.
of funny. She always talked about herself in the third person. So she'd be like, Nana's da 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 da. Like she'd always call herself
What
Nana.
was her name?
Her name's Bonnie.
Bonnie.
Yeah, she'd refer to herself as Nana.
Nana.
So it was like that. We were like, that's weird. 'Cause we weren't like small children. Like for a small child, you do want to refer to yourself in the third person, so they'll call you that name.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm 9.
You said,
I know to call you Nana. You don't have to
you
call
said,
yourself
chill
that.
out, girl. Chill out.
But yeah, she's just a quirky lady. Like lots of funny things about her. Super sweet. She's very similar to you. Like she will talk to anybody and make a friend with anybody.
She's like,
When they moved into an assisted living later in their life, everybody knew her and she knew everybody.
that's so cute.
Another like thing about that is like she'll talk to you about somebody and you're like turning to somebody like, who is that? And she's talking about someone like you know them. I'm like, I don't know that person. I just
Yeah. Yeah.
totally
Oh
awesome.
my
Glad to
gosh.
hear that. Not like she's just totally there. It's not like
She's not senile.
she just like
She's just a
she
future.
just talks about people like you would know who they
Yeah.
are, and you're like,
Oh my
I
god,
don't know
I'm
who
like
that
talking to like
like
a
you would be able
yeah.
to keep up with her lore. Like I can't keep up with your lore because your lore is massive.
You said your lore, Bonnie, is crazy.
Yeah, like she has so many friends. How am I supposed to keep up with?
Oh my
these
god, this is gonna
people?
be a future version.
I know you're gonna be like talking about like Joey, blah blah. I'll be like,
You said, what the
like,
fuck are you talking
yeah.
about?
And it's very that. So when they came, and my grandpa, my
Her
mom's
husband.
dad,
Or
yeah,
no.
her husband.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was like,
Terry.
wait, not your mom's
His name
husband.
is his name is Terry. He's very
Terry.
quiet.
Bonnie and Terry.
Bonnie and Terry.
How cute.
Very quiet. Very. It's kind of he was always kind of grumpy. I don't know. We don't really know why. My mom
Very
said that, like he's always
opposites.
kind of been very like passive
Mm.
aggressive, just kind of like not really into it. I don't
Yeah.
you know, and but he'd have these moments of like be nice, but you're kind of like It's not like he was like mean all the time. It just wasn't
He's
nice.
just nice. He's just
You know,
like
when
the in
someone's-
between.
You know when someone's just kind of like
Meh.
like and you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
And that's Bonnie's husband.
yeah, which
They're
is really
so
surprising.
opposite.
Isn't it crazy?
That's
Like
so
it's like the
weird.
sunshine marrying like the rain cloud. Very interesting. Very interesting dynamic.
That's so funny.
But yeah, so we grew our relationship from there. They ended up moving to New Mexico to like what they thought would be to retire in New Mexico next to my aunt. My mom's sister lives in New Mexico because my dad had gotten a job in Utah and they were about to move out to Utah. My grandparents didn't want to live in Utah. And I think they had moved to Texas under the assumption we were going to be there forever.
You're
and
like,
that they would be able to retire close to people. But
you're like,
once it was kind of determined we're moving to Utah, because my dad got laid off his job in Texas, so he got a job in Utah. They were like, okay, we'll move close to Annette, which is my aunt in New Mexico. So they moved back there, and that's where our relationship kind of didn't stay as strong.
And then when did they come back closer?
Just in the summer of 2025, they decided my grandma, my nana, she had MS, which is multiple sclerosis. It's a neurological thing. So her mobility
went down
quite a bit.
So you guys were close when you were in 4th grade, and
we
then
were close when we all lived in Texas. But then when I was a junior in high school, my dad got laid off his job in Texas, and it was like a weird time for the job market, so he got a job in Utah. So he actually moved out.
Your grandparents ended up moving back from New Mexico, and so now they are closer to you. Where are your other grandparents at?
They still lived in Texas since they had moved there, so they never moved. My dad's parents.
What are their names?
My grandpa's name is Ed, so my dad is a junior.
Oh, Ed.
And then my grandma's name is Patsy.
Patsy.
Yeah, and we would call
Patsy
her Grammy, so Grammy and Papa's house.
And then the other is Nana and
Papa.
Nana and Papa. Got it.
So they live in Texas, and once we moved away from Texas, like we didn't see them as often. When we lived in Texas, I mean, we saw them all the time. We stopped going to their house in the summers once we got into like probably high school or middle school, just because we stopped taking interest in spending the whole summer.
That makes sense. Well, you're a teenager. Yeah, that makes sense.
And once we got older, there wasn't as much to do really because your interests change.
They're like, here, go roll around in the dirt and play prairie.
And you're like, you're like, no, I want to hang out with my boyfriend.
I want to hang out with my boyfriend, my friends.
Yeah,
so how did your relationship started changing when you were in high school? And I don't really know how to bring it up any other way.
My grandparents died, except for one.
They're dead.
I have one living grandparent.
One living grandparent. So yeah, I didn't really know how to transition to it. So I was like,
I'll transition it. They're dead.
They're dead. I was like trying to bring it up lightly, and you're like, dead.
They are dead. Death is natural. It's okay. We're fine. Anyway,
I just start crying. So
um,
yeah, what did that when did those transitions started happening
yeah. So
for you guys? Because I know this is a
when
big part of your
when
life.
my family moved to Utah, and we're all adults at this point, me and my sister were adults.
Mhm.
That's when we stopped really having super strong relationships with all my grandparents because
Mhm.
we moved away from both of them. And I think just as an adult too, I mean, some people stay really close with their
Yeah.
grandparents. Um, I think it was just easier for me to distance
Mhm.
myself. I don't really know why. I guess I just didn't stay close. My
Yeah.
sister went to college in Texas, so she
Mhm.
had a longer relationship with my Grammy and Papa
Got it.
because she was there and she'd visit them all the time.
Mhm.
When I graduated high school and we moved to Utah and I went to school in Utah, that dynamic wasn't strong for me
Mhm.
as it was for her
Got
in
it.
my adult life. And so I mean, we keep in touch. We didn't visit that often. Um, we have a big family, so we'd all kind of keep in touch or whatever, but we weren't
Mhm.
like visiting all the time, very rarely at all.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the last time I'd visit my grandma. I think is when my sister was still in college. I
Mhm.
would go down and hang out sometimes. Um, but the last time we went to Grandma and Papa's house is when in June of 2024, when my niece was 2 months old, we
Mhm.
took her on a road trip down to see all the family. And that's the last time I saw my. Sorry.
You said, "Oh no, we're not podcast." It's the
We
whole
took
point.
a crying break.
We took
With
a
that.
we took a break.
Yes. Sorry. That was the
Nope.
last time I saw my Grammy and my Papa. I mean, at that point, my grandpa had dementia, so
Mhm.
he was when somebody has dementia, like their body is just slowly shutting down and like
Mhm.
basically forgets how to function,
Yeah.
right?
And this is
So my dad's dad.
your
So we
dad's
went
dad.
down to Texas with my niece so everyone could meet her, and my Grammy was there, my papa was there, but my papa was there, but he wasn't there.
Yeah. How long
I
did
mean,
he have dementia for?
um, I mean, it started probably 5 plus years before he
Okay.
ultimately passed away from it. I mean, it's a slow progression. I mean, sometimes it hits really fast.
Yeah.
Some people, they're there one day and they're not the next, right?
Mhm.
His was like a slow progression. We started noticing like he's kind of not connecting the dots anymore. Like
Yeah.
he seems confused. But at that point when we had visit, he was bedbound.
Mhm.
Needed care all the time. Um, and so like he wasn't all there. That was really depressing to see. But I wasn't really close with him. I always say like by the time me and my sister had come along, like he was done kind
Mhm.
of being a grandpa because like I said, my oldest cousin was like on that side was like 15 years older than us. So like
Mhm.
the older cousins kind of got the grandpa experience and we kind of just got like the
But it's
grandpa's
still
there, but he would show his love in like small ways, like making sure the battery charged on our Barbie Jeep or like letting us use
oh.
his computer or
But you
whatever
still had a
else.
super dope like cuz I see how much it has affected you still so you still had a deep relationship with him even though
Yeah, in I think I mean not super close relationship. I think it's just like memories surrounding
Mhm.
him and being there. I don't know. But he passed away in July of 2024. I mean, it wasn't like unexpected because it was fully expected. Because I
Mhm.
mean, when we had visited him, he was bedbound, needing help all the time. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. Like he only had at that point. I think they told us he could really go at like
Any
any point when you're kind of in a hospice situation. Like
Mhm.
you you're on borrowed time.
Mhm.
So I got a call in July of 2024 from my mom saying he had passed away.
And the last time you had seen him
Was June.
was June when you took your niece to go on the road
Yeah,
trip. Okay.
yeah. And I was more so sad about that because I was sad for my dad. I think.
Mm. because it's him losing. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's more you like
It's
get
more,
sad for your parents more so. I think
especially
when you're
having
not close to your grandparent, but your parent
you see them
was like,
grieve.
yeah, that was sad.
Just especially to see like your dad lose his dad, and like you guys have such a close family bond all together, and then to see your dad like grieve
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's hard to see like your someone who's significant in your parents' life die because then your parents are grappling with the fact that their parent died, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
No, makes sense. I'm like I'm the word I want to use is like fascinated, because like my brain just like opened up to a whole different like manner of like, whoa, I've never really experienced that before.
mm-hmm.
I've never
Yeah,
experienced that. Like my dad that raised me, his dad died, and but I never really felt like close to him. I never got this experience, so it
mm-hmm.
really puts it in a whole different perspective of like why, because I this sounds horrible, but like I never understood why people grieve
Yeah,
their grandparents,
mm-hmm.
and now I know why. I'm like, now
Yeah,
I'm like, oh wow, it's because you're seeing literally someone that your dad is grieving, and now you're
mm-hmm.
watching that grief
Yeah,
and like experiencing that.
yeah. I think that was the grief for my grandpa, my dad's dad, was because I was like more so sad for my dad, but
Hmm.
I wasn't able to like go to his funeral or anything because I wasn't able to fly out for that.
Hmm.
So I watched it. They had like a live stream, which is really cool about funerals nowadays.
Yeah,
Usually there's a live stream link.
you
Live
could
stream.
you could stream a stream
stream
a funeral,
stream the
stream that
funeral.
shit.
So I think it was a little bit easier also because we knew he was going to pass away pretty
Hmm.
soon. So it wasn't like devastating.
But it's
But it's still sad.
still death.
And then unexpectedly in December of 2024, my um my dad's mom passed away. I mean, she wasn't like super old, but she had a lot of health issues throughout her
Hmm.
life. She was actually in um heart failure for the longest time, which I mean, you have medications and stuff to like keep your heart going, but at a certain
Yeah,
point your heart is going to fail and there's no replacement for a heart. You know, it's not like they're gonna do a heart like
transplant
the transplant
on a
on an
elderly.
80-year-old woman. Like,
They're like,
that's
that's
not
not.
gonna happen.
Yeah.
So that was not as expected. I mean, anyone old, you know, like anyone can die at any age, so
Yeah.
like whatever. But it wasn't like we were like, oh, she's in the hospital and she's on her way out. It was like we got a phone call from my aunt saying like, she's gone.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Because
it was like so my grandma in her old age, and she's also a social butterfly.
mm,
She decided she wanted to live in a nursing home. That was her decision. She wanted to live in the
mhm.
nursing home so she could have
Have.
friends, chat, and have a good
Oh.
time. Because my aunt was working, and like at that point my grandpa had passed away, so she was just home alone while my aunt was working. So she was like bored, and she's like, I'd
Yeah.
rather be in the nursing home. So she decided to be there. So my aunt got a call from the nursing home, like, hey, she's really struggling. So they called the ambulance and they took her to the hospital. And by the time my aunt got there, she was kind of on her way out, and then her heart kind of gave out and she passed away before anyone
Anyone.
else could get there.
Oh my
I mean,
god.
there was no chance of my dad getting there or any of us. We were in Utah
Oh.
and they're in Texas, and even the people who lived in Texas, like an hour away, didn't even get there in time. Like
Hmm.
it was like quick, which I mean, in some ways is nice,
Yeah.
because you know the person's not struggling.
But at the same time,
But it's also
you don't
like
get a goodbye.
nobody got a chance to like get there, and like she wasn't conscious. Like when you get to a certain pain level, or your heart's kind of
Mm.
your body's basically running its like motor so hard that you're like in physical pain. The
Yeah.
doctors and stuff make the decision to like put
Yeah.
you on a medication that like makes you unconscious so
Yeah.
that you're not having to like writhe in pain in any kind
Exactly.
of way, which is really great about medicine, is that we're able to like
Yeah.
help
Nowadays, we can
people
definitely do that.
on their
But
way out. So she wasn't conscious, but then yeah, her heart stopped beating, and you know she passed away. And so we got that phone call, and that was really tough. But I was in Utah at the time
Mhm.
for Christmas on my holiday break. So
Mm.
we actually did all get to go out to Texas for her celebration of life, and see family and go to the house and have a good time and everything. And got to bring my niece too when she was a little bit older than when we brought her in
Yeah.
the summertime. And it was just good to be with family. Yeah, it was just
Do you think that process was, I don't want to say easier, but like how was that process different from her,
um
like your grandpa?
it was different in the sense that we all got to go.
Mhm.
We all got to, because when my grandpa had passed, my sister didn't even get to go to Texas for his thing
Mhm.
because my niece was so little at that point. Like
Yeah.
she was like, "No, I'm not gonna take her just for that." But with me being there, both my parents going, my sister was like, "Oh, we'll bring her too," and we took her on our first flight, and that was really nice.
Mm.
So it started like negative, positive,
It kind of that
like
in
the
that
ups and
loss, it
downs.
was more of you were able to feel more of the
Yeah, and it
shift.
brought our family all together. Like my cousin who lives in Missouri, like we hadn't seen forever, she came down for it, and
Mhm.
all my aunts and everything were there. We were all in the house like we used to be, and it was really fun.
Mm.
So it was a good time, and we all just, I mean, that's what she would have wanted as us to like sit
Get
around
together.
playing games, like
Yeah.
talking way too loud, having a good time. So it was
It was like
nice
a
in
true
that sense.
celebration of
Yeah,
life.
it was really nice. And then so the difference between that and my grandma's is that I was kind of disconnected from it fully, just being here and only watching it on the live stream.
Do you feel like
Um,
you weren't able to fully like process the grief of him
um,
because you were here, or
no, I don't think so because they died so close together that going for my grandma's thing, we also like were able to like kind of unwrap uh like my grandpa's
at the same
side of
time?
things too. So even though it
Mm,
was unfortunate that they died so close together unexpectedly, like my dad lost both his parents in like a 6 month period.
that's
So it
terrifying.
was
Yeah.
unexpected, but it was like kind of nice to go to their house and like go through their things and like see what they,
Yeah.
go through memories and stuff. And
It kind of like in my brain, it's like a little bit of a quicker process, but also it's like I can't, like, I imagine losing both my parents at the same time, and I'm like, oh my god, but it's so different when you're like the grandchild,
mhm,
and it's like interesting to like listen and like hear your dad's
mhm.
perspective and like your family's perspective.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially because, well, I get to hear like my aunts. I have three aunts on
Hmm.
that side. Like their different stories. Get to hear my cousins who are older than me. They have different stories of when my grandparents lived in New Mexico, like because those grandparents lived there too
Hmm.
at some point. And just hearing everybody's stories, or even just hearing my second cousins, like my cousins' children's stories about how they were close for them too. It's like really fun. And also I got to see all
Mm.
of them too. I hadn't seen them in a long time, and now they're all like almost middle school age, which is really cool. And then my cousins who I was close in age with are now like adults.
So you really,
It's like,
it
yeah,
seriously brought like everybody
yeah, it
together.
really
Like
did.
it's like a, I feel like with grandparent like death, it's such a different perspective of like really like, especially with like how close your family is, like really guiding everybody together and
Yeah.
like being able to like be each other's support system and like truly then like thinking about you being here when your grandpa died, then being able to go home and
Hmm.
truly be able to just like
Yeah, you
sit in
process
it and
it.
process it together.
Yeah. And that was nice. I mean, there's so many, that side of the family is so large that it was
Hmm.
like the chance of us all getting together again was slim while everyone was still alive. So it was kind of depressing, but also like nice that everybody was there.
Able
And we
to
all
be
get to
there.
spend time together and have a nice time.
Yeah.
So those are like the positive aspect, I guess. There's always a positive aspect,
There's
I feel
always,
like.
yeah.
Um, so that was like a nice, for lack of better words, like a good like tying the bow on the like.
Yeah, to be able to like, well, it's kind of like when people get to like close out a chapter, when it's
Mhm.
like you were able to finally like, here it is.
Yeah.
Let's sit here with
Yeah, it was a
it
nice
and
like ending to it. And I mean, for my dad it like went on a little bit longer because then you have to work out when both of your parents die, you have to work out like wills and
Oh my god.
closing bank accounts and
And
all
it kind
that
of got
kind of
pulled out
stuff.
a lot
And
longer for him.
he has 3 siblings, so there's 4 children, trying to like
Oh
organize their
god.
parents' life, and so that it went on a little bit longer for him.
Mhm.
But it's finally it's all done now,
Yeah.
on his end, and so he's able to close that chapter of his life too. And I think he's in his grandpa era
Mm.
too, so I think that was just a good
It's kind of
transition.
it feels like when you said that it feels like he fully was able to transition into like grandparent
Yeah,
mode,
yeah, like
like fully like closing that cuz like when I was little, like my great grandparents were like alive, but then they had passed away. So then it's like now it's like the door opens to you
yeah.
being able to be a grandparent. And like, because I think about people, especially having older parents, like having to take care of them. It's like, how do you take care of your parents and your grandkids at the same time? And so
Mm-hmm.
it feels like that kind of just opened up for him,
Yeah,
even though that's so like sad that it
it
works
is.
like
It
that.
is, but like it's like one less big deal that he has to worry
It's
about.
just a very interesting process to like sit here and like listen about because it's
Mm-hmm.
just something I've never been in.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. It
so
is.
going through like that process, like what has that felt like now, and kind of like leading, because we do have to talk about your other
Mm-hmm.
grandparents, but for like honoring them and honoring their lives in like this chapter closing, like what did that process kind of look like afterwards? Like, was it you went with your family, you grieved it, and then you kind of are like able to move on, or was it a longer grief period? Like, what did that look like for
Um,
you?
I think because we were able to go to Texas and be with family, it was kind of like a good, like, got to grieve it out and be together. And then my family, we went back to Utah and we had Christmas and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And so, like, um, I think if that was kind of the grieving period for that, it didn't really go on much longer. I mean, I had moments of like sadness, I hear there. I
Like,
think anyone does, like where you kind of
yeah,
like a memory strikes, or like
something reminds you of
something
them.
reminds you of them, or you're like almost grieving like your ability to like go back to things.
Mm,
So I guess that's kind of like
the bigger thing
the
of being
bigger thing,
able
but it's
to
not like I've been like I
kind of
wasn't like it didn't like put a pause on my life
mm,
like
that makes.
crazy. I came back from Christmas break, I went back to work, and like everything was kind of fine, and
Mm-hmm.
you know you kind of move forward from there, and that wasn't too difficult of a time, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's still it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
doesn't feel like
then
it got stretched out to you. It
yeah,
feels like you're able to like sit with it, because I feel
yeah,
like a lot of times with the grief specifically, it's like it gets stretched out because you don't give it time, and you
hmm,
don't just sit with it.
yeah,
And especially I feel like now hearing like a grandparent perspective, like being able to truly sit with your family, it kind of gives you that time to like fully
yeah,
experience it, so it doesn't get like pulled
yeah,
out even
yeah.
longer.
And I mean, at that point, she wasn't the my grandparents on that side weren't part of my daily life, or and I
Mm-hmm.
hadn't seen them in a since that summer was the first time I'd seen them in the longest amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where it wasn't like suddenly my whole life dynamic was different. I mean,
Completely
I
shifted.
came
Yeah.
back here and life was the same as it was, and you kind of just deal with the maybe little pits of sadness you have here or there, but it's not like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like for my cousins who live right there next to her and saw her every weekend and like all
Yeah.
that, were like
Their lives have
now that whole
completely
thing is
shifted.
different.
Yeah.
I didn't have that same experience, so
Mhm.
it was that one was a little bit easier in
Other
that sense of like it didn't take a big effect on my life as it was at the
daily
time.
day
It
to
was
day,
more
yeah.
so like reminiscing on how life was prior
Got
in my
it.
childhood.
Okay.
So that was more, I think, with both scenarios,
Mhm.
what the thought process kind of was. Yeah.
Got it. That makes
Hmm.
sense. That's
Yeah.
very I'm sitting here like in awe of it all because it's like I've just heard so many times of people really grieving their grandparents, and I've never been able to sit down with somebody
Mm-hmm.
and actually like ask all the questions that I want to, like how did that feel like what was that like? I want to know because I want to be able to truly understand people in that aspect because I've never been able to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like
Yeah.
I'm like thankful that
Yeah.
you're like wanting to share and like are here to share it and share like their stories of
Mm-hmm.
how, because like it's to me I think about how beautiful it is for someone as if you were very little to be able to experience them, but even for a period of time for them not to be in your life to day for a day-to-day basis and then it still affect you to this
Mm-hmm.
depths. It shows how much like love like
Mm-hmm.
travels through your family. It just like
Mm-hmm.
it makes me want to like cry because I'm
Yeah.
like it just makes me think about how beautiful that that family dynamic that you get because not everybody gets that,
Yeah.
and for them to be present grandparents for them, it's just when I think of grieving and you think about how much effect they've had on your life, it just shows how much love they've given
Mm-hmm.
to. And how many, like you said, how many
So
kids,
many.
so many grandkids in your
So
family,
many.
and you're the for you to be the youngest grandkid and them still have this big of an impact
Mm-hmm.
on you just shows how much love is
Mm-hmm.
within their hearts, and
Yeah.
that like now even after they're gone is still here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just mind boggling and like
Yeah.
beautiful to see how like love has traveled down
Mm-hmm.
like all the way down to you.
Yeah. It's it's been nice reflecting on it, I think, because now I think all the feelings I have are very positive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all good. I'm all good
you
about it.
said,
I'm good.
you said,
Like,
oh my god, but
and I
it's
know
still
people are a lot closer to their grandparents where
mm,
it's devastating. And I feel like
yeah,
that's maybe that's how my cousins felt or my
mm-hmm.
cousins' children felt because they were so it was like a part of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Um so props to all the people who are like super close to grandparents that are going through grief from that
Yeah,
caliber. I can't imagine, but
yeah,
it's it's
I would
nice
assume it's like a parent.
to yeah,
Yeah,
kind of. I mean some people get raised by their grandparents
yeah,
too, so I'm sure that's really tough and
I feel like
I think
I think of the dynamic it's even shifted
mhm
though to like for people that have grandparents that have stepped up to be their parent, because then like I think about them passing away and it's like wow, they're the ones that chose me
mhm.
because my parents
Yeah, and
didn't.
that's like a whole other different level of grief I think
Yeah.
too is like grieving the fact that the people who are basically your parents even though they're your grandparents, they're
Hmm.
much older than parent age
Yeah.
and you're having to grapple with that and possibly your biological parents are still alive but you don't have a close
Close
relationship so like
relationship with
yeah
them.
my parents are alive but
Yeah.
my
Yeah, it's like
so
but I find it interesting in your life it's been heavily connected on and it just mind boggles me that it's heavily connected between both sides of your family, like both
mhm
grandparents are insanely close to you, are like loved you very
mhm
deeply, and it's just been like I feel like it's a true like blessing to be able to like sit here and like listen and like
yeah
to have experienced both sides and all of it.
yeah I think me grieving the memory of them is nice because it's like now when my parents die
I'll be here, honey.
I'm gonna be missing in action. I'm gonna be like
Yeah.
depression to the max. Like, whoa, crazy.
Yeah.
It's nice to not have to feel that way about my grandparents because my parents are like are the ones that hold like all of
All
my
the
love,
yeah.
I think. And then like my grandparents obviously love me, I love them, but it's not like
It's
they
not
weren't my whole life. My
yeah.
parents are my whole life, so it's like
Yeah,
nice to know that they raised my parents to be good parents and now like I don't have to be as sad about them dying. I'm still sad about them dying, but
but they've created your whole world
like
for
yeah,
you.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you're just more sad about like things changing. Transitions are
Yeah.
hard. Death is a really hard transition because it's
Yeah.
uh like
Yeah,
done.
it's the door is
Yeah,
closed. The
like
door
nope,
closes
you're
and
never
that's
talking to
it.
that person again.
And
Like
you're like and you
yeah.
don't yeah, and they it's
So
like
it's a hard pill to swallow, but I'm thankful that my family dynamic has made it easier.
yeah, you have
I
a
think.
great
Yeah.
a great support system, and
Yeah.
yeah, when you said that you're like wow, my grandparents raised good parents. Like
Mhm.
Oh, that, like, made me wanna, like, sob my eyes out
Yeah.
too, because it's like, wow, they did such on both sides of your family, they did such good jobs to create both amazing fucking parents now that you get to love with your whole entire fucking heart and every ounce of
Mhm.
your heart. You get to have such a beautiful family because of them. And now understanding, like, the grief process of that, being
Yeah.
like, that I now I'm understanding, I'm like, "Oh, that's why people are," because 'cause I've just never understood the sadness of losing a grandparent, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "That's why people are so sad because you look at them as, like, you created the
Mhm.
person that I love,
Yeah.
and you created the family that I have, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
them."
It's that family tree stuff
That
really.
family
That family
tree.
tree stuff really gets to you
Yes,
when you start
yes.
thinking about
You're
it.
like,
And
"Oh."
also, I had a weird thought the other day, kind of on topic, but off of like
Mhm.
how we all have like we have great great grandparents, we have great 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 grandparents, and people we
Yeah.
never are gonna meet, but like they led us to our
Yeah.
us, and like some of those were positive relationships, some of those are negative relationships, but
Mhm.
it's like somehow we got here, and
Which is
so it's just
magical.
mostly nice to like reminisce on. Someday there'll be like great 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 greats of
Yeah.
of my grandparents, and like it's nice to know like okay there was some
There
positivity
is
in
some
that regard.
positivity. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
and it's like your family tree. I don't know about your family tree before.
No.
Who fucking knows about that?
Yeah, who
But
knows?
like your family tree now of what we know of, it's like beautiful that you created all these beautiful relationships, and now you're going to be able to tell your grandkids about it and be like,
Mhm.
this is what my summers were like, and
Yeah.
this is, and like trying to recreate those
Yeah.
memories is like
Yeah.
absolutely like,
Learning from them what you want to do, what you don't want to do
yeah.
with your kids or grandkids, and then being able to just share their story is kind of our job. I think when
Hmm.
somebody dies, is it's your job to like you can never no one's ever gonna know what it's like to be with that around that person if they've never
Yeah.
met that person
And
or
it's,
don't have the opportunity because that person's
yeah.
passed away. So it's your job to paint the picture of that person for other people
Hmm.
so they can kind of get the idea.
And that love,
And
like
that love,
you're
yeah.
able to be like, I was loved so deeply by them, and now I'm
Yeah.
passing this on to you
Yeah.
to be able to
And
experience
yeah,
them.
and I mean, I think about like my dad rarely talked about his grandparents. I mean, they were nice people. He talks about them time to time.
Hmm.
But am I gonna talk about my grandparents, my kids? I don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. I would
So
hope so. I
I
would
mean,
hope.
probably
Yeah.
here or there, but is there gonna be like pictures of them on my wall, and my kid's gonna like point at the picture, and be like, "Oh, look, it's so." Is probably not.
Yeah.
But
Maybe they'll come listen to this
yeah,
podcast.
maybe they will. But like,
I think
it's
creating like
nice to have
spaces to
those
talk about it.
memories for myself. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I I think I had a conversation with you a couple weeks ago of like, or I might have not told you, like realizing how special memories are, and like you were just saying that no one else gets to experience them. Only you got to experience that childhood with
Yeah.
them. Only you. I don't even know what they look like. Like
Hmm.
I'm now being. I feel very blessed that I'm getting to like somehow experience their energy and their love in like this moment. But I'll never be the person to be in that memory. I'll
Hmm.
never be the person to be in that beautiful second of time.
Yeah.
And it's just magical to think about how we create memories and how
Hmm.
like loving memories stick. Bad memories also stick, but like to be
Yes.
able to hold those beautiful memories and like beautiful energy with them is just magical.
It is. It's really nice. Highly recommend.
Highly recommend Good Grandparents. I highly recommend. What actually thinking of recommendations, do you have like any advice on like people going through this process, watching their parents go through grief of their grandparents? Like, do you have any advice
um,
for people going through this process currently?
I mean, it kind of depends on your relationship with your grandparents, but if you have a close relationship, I just say like finding ways to revisit memories.
Hmm.
I don't know, like
Yeah.
sometimes you're not able to go back to the places you had those memories,
Hmm.
but you can like. Sorry, I'm like getting teary eyed again.
No,
You can like. Sorry.
no, don't be sorry.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
I hate crying.
No, don't be. Don't. We like crying here.
Yeah.
We like crying. I like crying.
Sorry.
I like crying.
You can revisit the um memories in like everyday life. So I find myself a lot of times having like random like memories of things that I'd like totally forgot about.
Mhm.
I feel like you wouldn't like get those memories to your brain if those people weren't on your mind in like the sense after they die, like they're on your mind more.
Mhm.
So you don't like you can't access some memories in your brain um without like the grief also in your brain.
Mhm.
Weirdly, I don't know if that's science. Therapists chime in. I don't know if that's science,
I
but
don't.
like I feel like
No, it makes
some
sense.
memories are like in a logbox that your like brain can't access until like grief is there, and then
Mhm.
it like can unlock certain memories that you like
Yeah.
never thought to think about.
Mhm.
So
Grief. Grief
that's
opens up like a lot of love.
yeah, it does. It's not grief is not always like total sadness. It's a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of steps to grief. Again, I'm not a therapist and I don't know all the steps, but I know there's steps.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's nice to like be able to access a part of your brain that maybe you don't get to access all that
All the time.
often.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that's a benefit. I would just recommend letting those feelings in.
Mhm.
If you feel like crying at 10 p.m. on your phone, watching a TikTok somebody else's grandparents, then do it.
Yeah, then do it.
If you have a sudden emotion and feel like crying on your drive to work,
Do
just
it.
do it. You know,
Yeah.
whatever. I was in my. This is a funny story. I was. Well, I don't think we really talked about this yet, but my other grandma, my Nana, she just recently passed away suddenly.
Mhm.
And so when I got back from Utah for that, I went back to work the first day, and I had to like go. My classroom has a closet in it, and I had to like go in and like cry in my closet
Oh my
for
god.
a little bit.
Yeah, you have to give yourself some space to fucking sob in your closet.
I need space.
He said, "I need space to sob in my closet."
Yeah, I think it's because like I had this the situation where my Nana was like different because I was working. I had to then I wasn't like on a work break like I was with my other grandma. So I had to like let everybody know that my grandma was dying and then I
Yeah.
had to leave island. So like I think when I got back, like everyone was aware that she had passed away. And so it was like kind of I felt like everyone was kind of like
Looking at you.
walking on eggshells or like being really nice. It wasn't like
Yeah.
people were like
Ew, your grandma died.
avoiding me or like not, they were like, oh sorry, but like kind of getting to a good place and then having to like return to your life and then people
Bringing
still
it. Yeah.
still like saying like, oh, like so sorry for your loss, and that's a very sweet thing to do. Like,
But it brings it up.
but it like I was like,
He
so
said
I, like,
yes.
I was like walking in my closet. I was like,
He's
so
like,
I
oh my
in the
god.
closet, I was like,
Yeah, it's
for,
hard when
like,
you're
a
like.
bit. And then I was like, okay, and I was able to like get myself together and like get back to work. And it was also, I mean, when you have a really good relationship with people at work, like they give you time you need. So like no one expected me to come back and be like, boss bitch, like ready to teach these kids.
I'm ready to teach these kids.
They all kind of knew I like needed time to like
process.
get back into the groove of it. And my job is really special in the fact that you come back and I work with kindergartners now. Like you get back and kids are just so positive. They're just so cute. None of them knew why I was gone. Obviously,
I would hate it.
Like, oh, why were you gone, Miss Cassie? My grandma died.
You said
like, no.
Yeah, because then they're like, "Why is your grandma dead?"
Yeah,
They're gonna ask questions.
Open that door because you'll either like have to talk to a kid for the longest time about why people are dead, or like you'll make a kid scared that their grandparent.
Oh yeah, die. You're like, you guys don't need to know.
Or they ask you, "You have a grandparent?"
Yeah. So, you said, "Oh yeah."
Obviously, no one told the children why I was gone. But it's like nice to come back and like be around kind of just like the most like innocent, naive kind of population of just like, oh, their biggest problem right now is like their mom didn't pack the snack they wanted. It's nice to be around like people like when they cry, they're crying about, their friend not wanting to play with them at recess. Like it's like not those problems feel really big to those kids, but like
yeah,
it's nice to be around kids because they're like their biggest issues are really small issues to adults.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be around like just they're mostly just really positive human beings.
Yeah.
And then they're just like they're really funny too. Kids are hilarious even if they're not trying to be hilarious. So it's like really nice to go back to a work, and I feel sorry to people who have to go back to like super serious jobs,
Yeah. They kind of have to
or
like
like
stuff it.
imagine being a lawyer and having to go back to work after someone dies. Like
You're just like, oh, I would, if I was a lawyer, I'd be like, fuck you and
like,
fuck you.
like,
I'd be
like
so
that
mean.
would be really depressing.
That'd be absolutely. It's that such a fun like perspective to put it in, of being like, I get to be around such positive souls
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
heavy
yeah,
time, and they're like just like do, and they're like,
yeah,
my mommy didn't pack my lunch, and you're like, okay, friend.
yeah. Like and you know, some people could view as like going back to work with kids and be like that's not a big problem, kid. Like there are bigger problems in the world.
Mm,
But it was nice to be back with the little ones, and like
yeah.
because they're just so positive and they're so excited to see you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that like it was nice. They're like, "Oh, Miss Cassie, you're back. Where have you been?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I'm back, friends." And it's just nice to have positivity back when you go back to work, I think.
yeah.
So that was good when I got back. Um, but yeah, my grandma, my nana, she passed away in January.
Mm-hmm.
She had a stroke, and it led to a brain bleed, and then she was they told us like, yeah, she's not coming back from that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to fly over. They had decided to take her off life support because there was no possibility of her being able to survive. So they actually took her off life support, thinking like, okay, she'll probably be able to live off life support for like a couple hours
Mm-hmm.
and then she'll pass, whatever. So I was under the like assumption that by the time I fly the 6 hours from Maui to Utah,
Mm-hmm.
that she would most likely had already passed away.
Mm-hmm.
She said nope.
She's like, I'm holding out.
She lasted like almost 2 full days off life
She's waiting for
support.
you.
Which in some ways is like cool, but also a little bit like it's hard to see someone like struggling to for their body to function.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as humans, we have no way of like
Controlling that.
we don't euthanize people.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah, we had a conversation on.
for legal issues. We don't euthanize
Yeah.
people, even if we know they are going to pass away. We have to let their body like shut down. We can't
Mhm.
like give them a drug that's going to stop the functioning of their
Yeah.
body. We can only just give them pain meds, keep them comfortable, and let their body shut down slowly.
Mhm.
So that was interesting to see like someone off life support whose oxygen levels are super low, whose heart rate is super low, but like their
Mhm.
body just like keeps trying to chug to
And
keep them
yeah.
alive, and then it's just like slow. So she ended up passing. We weren't. My mom was at the hospital. It was like at 5 a.m. that she had passed.
Mhm.
So we all came to the hospital, and we were all. But prior to this, when I got there and she was still technically alive, we were all just hanging out at the hospital chatting, and that felt really nice. That it wasn't like all just like tears and crying. It was like
Yeah.
chatting and having a nice time, and just trying to be there for each other. And then she ultimately did pass away, and then we all went to the hospital, said our final goodbyes, and we were all sitting there. And after a while, my grandpa was like, well, you guys ready to head out because this, kind of getting creepy.
Oh my god! This is after she passed.
This is after she
Oh
passed.
my
So we're
god!
all sitting in a hospital room with essentially a dead body. And that's the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
It's like just her physical body is there anymore, or whatever.
And that's her husband's
it's
like.
her husband. And we all sat there, and he came in and he wailed and cried, which made me cry because every time I see someone cry.
Oh.
And then, but after a while, we were all chatting, like, okay, we'll contact the funeral home, blah blah blah. And then after a while, the conversation kind of ceased. Yeah, he was just like,
he's like,
this is kind of getting creepy because I mean,
you are
in truth, it is just the person's dead body that is.
Well,
there.
also you think about like like I would think like scientifically or genetically we're probably like dead body.
Well, yeah,
like,
they have like this like to like because I mean, you think dead body, you usually don't think like fresh dead body. You think like nasty old dead body.
Yeah, you think
but
of
I mean,
rotting dead body.
When someone like first dies, obviously the processes of decomposition start, but it's not like they're like deteriorating.
Yeah, it's like just dust.
just dust. But it is strange to just be in a room with someone's physical body, knowing that like everything else about them's not there, and you're kind of like, hey, you're
It's
right.
very empty.
It is a little bit creepy being in here right
Yeah. You're
now.
like, actually, you're kind of right.
Yeah, kind of sad. And there's some cultures and some family dynamics where they would have stayed there the whole day, or they
Oh,
would
wow,
have,
I didn't know that.
or they would have had an open casket funeral, or they would have where they stay with the body for a really, really long time. And those are
Yeah.
people's cultural preferences or family
Yeah.
preferences. And
I heard some animals actually do that too.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, some
There's like monkeys do that.
monkeys
Monkeys
like
hold their babies for
yeah,
like weeks.
yeah,
And I'm like, wow.
and if that's how your family grieves, that's how your family grieves.
Yeah.
That's how your culture grieves. That's how your culture grieves. For us, it was like, or at least mine. I don't know about other people's. It seemed like maybe my grandma too is like, okay, that's her physical body, not her. So like,
Yes.
can we like not?
Can we?
Can we not, like,
Can we go now?
She did choose to be cremated. They had a whole funeral plan. They're very organized people.
Your family seems like they have it.
She had already had her urn picked out and everything.
Oh,
not
wow.
not because she was like,
no, she just
not,
wants to look pretty in her urn.
When they got to a certain age, they were like, okay, we have to start like making arrangements. It's the responsible thing to do.
It really is. Leaving it on your kids.
They had paid for all their
wow.
funeral related things, their urns, their plots in cemeteries and things like that, because they were gonna bury the cremations and have headstones and everything.
Wow.
So they had already made all those
fucking organized. That's honestly so nice and like kind of them not to leave that on their kids.
Yeah,
because when it is left on your kids, it's like my mom always said, she's like, good luck with all my shit that I'm leaving you. And I was like,
yes. Some people don't have time to plan out their end of life stuff, but when they're older they decided to do that, and so everything was already arranged in that sense, so we were able to just kind of like go on our way. And like another great light of this whole situation was my niece, because she's a 1.5-year-old at that point, or a little older than 1.5 year. She does not know the situation. They did not take her to the hospital to see her, because that there's just no understanding of that. She'd be like, why are you sleeping?
Oh my god, she'd be bugging her.
Yeah, like there's just no comprehension of death at that age. Like, so she's just being her normal toddler self. Like, she still wants to go to her gymnastics class. She still wants to. She has no idea. And play, and wants you to somersault her like 15 times in a row. She does not know you're sad about anything.
No.
So life goes on, and so I got to spend some time with her. That's the really positive, like number one positive thing.
Yeah, kids have been like, it seems like within this process, like you're surrounded by so many kids, and kids have been like a big, I want to say like a big part of your healing process.
Yeah, especially my niece. Like the unexpected time I got to spend with her during that was so fun. It was like, while I was on the plane ride back, I was like on the plane like crying, mostly because I was like sad about leaving my niece, because she was such the light during that time. But then I just reminded myself, it's like, okay, like I go back to that like mentality. She's not my child.
She's not my child.
It's not, I need to go back to my life, back
you have
to
a really
Eric,
good reframe,
back to my house, back to my normal, and then everything can go from there. And after I got back, like I said, I went back to work. And then I was kind of in this like weird, depressive, like avoidant sort of mindset. Like
it's very common.
Yeah, I was supposed to have dance things, and I was like kind of trying to avoid it because I didn't want to be with people, and I would just like randomly cry, or just even at work I was just a little bit like meh. Like, it puts in a good perspective for me, at least, where I'm like, I mean, work is essential, making money is essential for living, but at the end of the day, if I want to sit in my classroom for 30 minutes and do absolutely nothing, like, sue me. Like,
what are you gonna do?
I'm like, I'd rather just like sit here and take the time that I need than go out and like do my job like mediocre. Like, I'd rather just like
give your
take the time I need. And everyone at work, like I said, was really great about that. Like, and
Mhm.
now I'm back in my groove. I'm going back to dance. I'm like, I had the time to like think it through and like self reflect on how I was like being a little bit more standoffish. Even to Eric, I was like
Mhm.
kind of being kind of standoffish, and I mean he was really understanding,
Yeah.
obviously. So it was an interesting time coming back, but now I'm kind of at a good place. Obviously, I still cry
Yeah. I cry.
about it. Obviously,
We're
I still cry about it.
obviously
Okay.
we still cry about it, but
Um.
crying's in I always think about grief and like just like I was saying earlier, like it just shows how much love we have for them. And like that's the most like beautiful thing about grief is
mm,
like because if you weren't grieving at all, that means you didn't like. To me, it
Well,
means like you're like, oh,
yeah.
I didn't really love her, like
And
whatever.
that's okay.
Like
Like, if you don't want to grieve somebody in your
yeah.
family, then that's
Oh yeah, no,
totally
there's definitely
fine.
people that are gonna pass away within my family that I won't give a fucking
And
shit
there are
about.
gonna be some people that pass away where you're a little
Exactly.
bit like,
And then there's gonna be people, yeah, like I've
like
grieved
kind
my
of
mom.
deserved it.
Yeah, kind of
Like,
like
I know we're not supposed to say
I
that, but
know
like,
we're saying things about
I know we're not supposed to say like we wish people are dead, but
no,
I don't have any of those people in my life, but
yeah.
people may have those people in their life,
We've talked about those
and
people that I have in my life.
assume that's pretty valid
Yeah,
considering the situations you're
I know
in.
there's different like because like there's someone I have in mind that I will end up passing away at some point in time, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
be like, well, but then I've heard about people that feel like that in the moment, but once they pass, that it's a different type of grieving because you don't feel super connected to
Yeah, I
them. But
feel
it's
like you
like
could
weird.
grieve like what you could have had but didn't. I can understand
Exactly, yeah,
that.
that.
Like, um,
But like it's just interesting to think about like grief and all these different aspects, and especially with your grandparents, and to see it just like I always just think when I see people grieving so harshly that I'm like, wow, you really loved that person.
mhm.
Like you really loved her.
Yeah, and I think it was really interesting to like think about it in a adult perspective because I mean I didn't have anyone die when I was a child, so I
Mhm.
never went through that as a kid. And then I mean, when you're an adult, there's always a possibility that your grandparents are going to pass away or like your older relatives are going to pass away.
Yeah.
But I guess I never expected it to be this soon, and so that was really interesting. And then
Like caught off guard.
my last grandpa left my papa. He still lives in Utah in the assisted living.
Mhm.
He has a cat now.
Oh, we got a
He got a
cat.
cat just to
Oh.
keep him company. But he is on palliative care, which, if you're not familiar, means like you have a life expectancy and you're most likely going to pass away
Mhm.
within a certain time frame. And so he's he's kind of in that point of his life where he's gonna pass away soon. Not like tomorrow or anything crazy. I mean, any day it can
Yeah.
happen, but I mean, he's well aware of it. And I think the hardest part for him was like he thought he was going to be the first one to pass away, and then
Mm.
she passed away so
And he's like,
suddenly.
what the fuck?
Well, yeah, because when you're
Yeah.
given like when you're put on palliative care and you're like
You give an
and you're
expectancy.
seen like and you're fully cognitive aware of your situation,
Yeah.
right? And you know you only have like 6 to 9 months to live.
Mhm.
Um, you can kind of process that, but you're kind of thinking, "Oh, I'm going to be the first one
Yeah, you're processing something that you're like
dead."
preparing
Like,
yourself.
yeah, like,
And then this happens and you're like
and then he is suddenly last man standing, and he's
and you're like,
like,
I didn't see this
"What?"
coming.
Like,
Yeah.
if you had asked me like who's most likely to pass away first
Yeah.
in that coupling, it would have been my grandpa due to those like slur uh of
Problems.
problems. Of
You're like,
medical
you're it.
problems.
You're like,
I mean,
sir,
he
you're
gets
it.
pneumonia like almost like every 3 months.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
he.
Oh, he was definitely so prepared for that. And then he's like,
Yeah, and he's on oxygen, and like obviously he got the diagnosis of like you're only gonna live like 6 more months, and so
mhm.
and he's at peace with that, whatever. But I
But
think
then
it was
your
hard
wife
for him
dies.
for his wife to pass away so
Yeah.
suddenly when she didn't have that kind of. I mean, she had MS, but it's not like
She didn't have a time.
she didn't have a timeline etched out on when her body was probably going to give out on her.
Yeah.
So that's been an interesting dynamic I think for him to take on is now he's last man standing, like I
Yeah.
said, of all the grandparents. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty
He's the last.
interesting.
He's like the last one. How
Yeah.
has it been hard seeing your mom? Because I know you said it was hard seeing your dad go through
Hmm.
losing his parents. Like, how is that process with your mom?
Um, it's been interesting. I mean, my mom always talked about how she was always saying how her family was not as close as our family was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like she wasn't as close to her parents as I'm close to my mom and my dad, right?
Yeah.
So she always wanted that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but since my grandparents had moved to Utah just recently, like they had built like a pretty good relationship and like
Yeah.
we're in each other's lives quite a bit. And I think it's just hard for anybody to lose a parent that you're
Yeah.
close to and you have positive feelings about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I guess I just kind of felt sad for her, for sure.
Yeah.
um, but I thought she handled it with a lot of grace. I would not handle it the same way. I was like, if you die, I'm.
You said I'm burning the world down.
If she died, oh my god, I'd be like, you know how I said like, ooh, dead body creepy? No, I'd be on her like, okay.
Yeah.
So it was like pretty interesting, and I was, I felt it was my role to like comfort her
Yeah.
during that. Definitely. Like I said, I was always been a mommy's girl, so you know, people there to comfort my grandpa, people are there to comfort my aunt. I felt like I was there for
You're like,
her.
this is my. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I kind of just, she, my family, my mom is always like super level headed, like knows
Mm-hmm.
what she has to get done, gets it done. Like,
Yeah.
what's the checklist that needs to get done, and we kind of just like, okay, what do you want us to do? And she's like, okay, help your grandpa move from this room to that room, and so we moved him in like a day to his
Yeah.
new room, like. I just did whatever she wanted
You're
me
like,
to do.
whatever you need, I got
She's
you.
like, you watch Lizzie, my niece,
Yeah.
while we go to the funeral home. I'm like, say less.
Say,
Aye, Captain.
aye, mom.
And I think ever since then, I don't know if I'm not there, so I don't know how she's handling it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling she's like hasn't fully processed it herself.
Yeah. Well, there's like within the grief periods, because this happened literally in December. Was
January.
January.
January, like end of January.
Well, yeah, I was like, this is so severely recent, and from going through my own grief, it takes a long fucking time sometimes, and it's like, and like because I've seen it in like low, I've seen it in a lot of people where there's like it can be short, and it can be also like mine was like 7 years long of avoidance. So it can be like so different. There's like an avoidance period. So you're like, yeah, she's probably not.
But that's not, it's not my place to say, and it's not my. I can't make her.
Well, you have an inkling. You have an
I have an
inkling.
inkling, and I can't make her grieve faster or slower.
Yep,
or
it's
at
her
all.
process.
I have to let her just figure that out, and I don't. If
you can be there for her
when I FaceTime her, if she seems not as like happy-go-lucky as she usually does, I don't take it personally. I'm like,
yeah, you're not like, so
I'm just gonna give you your time, and
yeah, you're not gonna be like, so why are you sad? No, what's going on?
And that's kind of where I'm at with that. Like, I kind of just letting her have her feelings if she has any. I don't know. I'm not like
you're not trying to dig out. Yeah, you're not gonna dig them out.
I'm just kind of chilling.
Just kind of being there for her.
Yeah, just kind of being there.
Just kind of being there.
I mean, if she ever wanted to talk to me about it, I'll talk with her about it. Like, whatever. But I'm not gonna like, like I said, dig and try to figure out like, why are you feeling this way? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
like,
that's I feel like you're approaching it the best way possible, and like that's how I feel like a lot of people should be, is just be there. That's it. Just be there and give space and hold space and not try to dig it out and not trying to be like, so how are you feeling? Your mom just died. You're like, my grandma just died. How are you feeling? Like, it feels like you're doing the intuitiveness of just being there.
Yeah, so this whole scenario has been unexpected and interesting for our family.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like my other grandparents passing away kind of also like
prepared
in a way, like for unexpected death. but yeah, I only have one grandparent left, so that's
You're
also
like,
really interesting
yeah.
too. I'm like 26 years old and only have one grandparent left. Some people don't have any
Mm,
left from a young age, but yeah, it's kind of interesting to
yeah.
just talk about people in past tense rather than present
Yeah.
tense.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry. Repositioning.
but you know, I'm I'm doing good. I think.
Interesting.
I think I'm
Processing.
doing
You
good.
said I think I'm yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like because I haven't asked you a lot about it at all, and I've kind of just
Hmm.
been there. I think I picked you up. So how you doing?
Yeah.
I just kind of like tried to hold the best space that I could, and I feel very grateful being able to sit here and like ask you and like ask the questions that I
Hmm.
wanted to, and you wanting to open up
Yeah.
because like because it's so soon, it's so recent, and for you to be able to open up about it like says so much about like how you are handling it and how you are just like you've been
Hmm.
like I've like observed that you've been really good of just like letting it
Yeah.
like let the emotions through, really
Hmm.
just experience it and
Yeah.
be there because like I feel like your avoidance process has been really short in comparison
Yeah.
like
I think the reason for that is that I recognized it and I recognized that it was like keeping me in a negative place.
mhm.
That I wasn't the nicest person to Eric.
You're like I'm gonna admit it, I was a little
um,
mean.
and then I wasn't like following through on my commitments in other ways, and I was like, that's not like me at all,
Mm,
and I didn't like that. So I was like, you know what, I'm and all these places that I'm like getting myself back into, they're all supportive places, so it's not like
yeah.
I'm like having to deal with negativity or anything crazy. So I just wanted to get back, and it's not like I'm forcing myself back to normal. I'm just like
You're just letting.
trying to get back to my new normal, I
Yeah.
guess. Like, what does my not moving on, but like moving forward. You know
Forward.
what I mean? That's what
Yeah.
I asked my tarot cards
We love
February for my
that.
February tarot card questions that I asked before I pulled the cards was like, how do I move forward from this whole feeling?
Mhm.
Not just like move on and like continue life, but like how do I take what I learned and like keep trekking
Mhm.
on. And so my tarot cards gave me some good cards that were.
What
I
did
was
they
like,
say?
I was like, I can't really remember.
It was
I've
kind of
done
just
another one since then because I do
yeah.
one each month. But if I remember correctly, it was about like processing your feelings, like what
Yeah.
your strengths are, and then your emotions, and then like how to not push people out like during this time. So it
Mm.
was all like very relevant.
It
I
was
was like,
calling you
that's
out.
spooky,
You said, "Ooh," you said the
witchy.
you said, witchy woman. Yeah,
So,
oh,
that's been nice getting into tarot at the like appropriate time too. Seem like, oh,
yeah.
it's like a good way to like, and even if tarot's not real,
And
whatever.
honestly, I think about that
I'm not
all
here
this.
to debate like the legitimacy of
Yeah.
that, but it's nice to like feel like almost like you're being sent things like
Yeah. On
from
why not make things magical? Cuz like okay, say like I like looking at numbers. Say that it's just
the
my brain making up. Why
other.
can't I make it magical? That's
Yeah,
what
why
makes it
not?
fun. Like
Like it doesn't affect anybody,
it's not hurting
whatever.
anybody. Yeah. If it is hurting you, then don't do
Yeah,
it. Like
don't do it.
yeah, if signs aren't hurting you, freaking believe and look for them as much as you want.
Hmm.
Don't like go nothing unhealthy obviously. If it's getting into delusion, we don't need the delusion of like hurting your mental health.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yes.
so anything else on that?
Um, no, like you said, just do what you gotta do as long as it's not hurt yourself or others. If you want to look at a cloud in the sky, go for it. If you want to see a bird fly by, go for it.
Go for
If
it.
you want
Go
to look
for
for portals, like we have,
yes, look for a portal. Those are fun.
that is really fun.
Those are super fun.
But do
Oh,
what you gotta do to grieve, and don't let people make you feel like you're crazy
yeah.
or that it's not
Yeah,
significant. If it's
if
significant to
it's
you, then it is. So
yes, exactly. You
yeah.
can make signs significant to you and believe in the magic because there's no like nothing wrong with believing in the magic.
Hmm.
So, does this feel like a good place to kind of like
Hmm.
okay. So, before we go, I wanted to ask you based off of all of your experiences and everything that you've told me, what is some recommendations that you have because you have had a very beautiful experience and like like it's been pretty healthy observing from you and like looking through this whole process, you
Mhm.
haven't like stayed in the
Mhm.
heaviness, but you've been able to like move through it. You've been able to do all these different things. So what are some like recommendations that you have for the people that are currently going through this process?
I would just recommend not digging yourself into a hole of grief. Grief is, I mean, space is one thing, digging yourself into a hole is a whole other thing where you are only getting yourself deeper and deeper into negativity. Um, but if you feel like you need time away from people, take that time. But if you're starting to feel like it's giving you the opportunity to be in a really negative headspace, then it's probably best to figure out what's going to bring you joy in your life. There's still joy no matter how deep you are into grief. There's
Mhm.
always light at the end of the tunnel. So
Mhm.
just look for that. And then, like we were saying about signs, if signs help you, then great. If you feel like you need support in other ways, then great. Just find what's going to work for you. Getting back out to your hobbies, relying on people and relationships you have with other people,
Mhm.
and just figuring out what's going to help you move forward, not move on and
Yes.
forget or numb that part of you, but like move forward to your new normal
Mhm.
post someone dying. So that's
Yeah,
what I would recommend.
definitely. And we kind of were going to touch base on it, but looking at your relationships as well.
Hmm.
Like going through this grief process, it shows a lot of perspective of your loved ones.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's nice to be able to reflect on the person you lost, but it's also a good opportunity to reflect on the people in your life that you want to spend time with. Life is
Mhm.
short. I think that was the biggest reminder for me during this whole thing is like life is precious, life is short, so I want to spend more time with the people that bring light into my life. I don't
Mhm.
want to stay in the darkness and waste my time with the people I love. Um Alternatively, you could think about that in an aspect of cutting off people that are wasting your time in your
Yep.
life too. So if you feel like you have people who are just bringing you down or in lack of better words wasting your time,
Yep.
um I would reflect on that and see maybe it's best to shed that negative weight from your life and make room for positive stuff.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Looking at your relationships and be like, do I want to spend time with you? Do I want,
Mm-hmm.
because life is short. Life is definitely
So
just, yeah, that was a really beautiful point of like, looking at your relationships, looking at your friendships, your family dynamics of like, do I really want to spend time with them? Do I really, because life is short and I want
mm-hmm.
to spend time with the people that I love and that are hurting me or just waste, yeah, like she said, wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, take the time to feel your feelings, move through it, find the
Mm-hmm.
positive things. You had a lot of positives with kids and the positive moments, the beautiful
Mm-hmm.
time spending with your niece,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I feel very, very, very grateful that you came here today
Yes.
and shared all of the nitty gritty. And I feel extremely grateful that I got to hear this because I have always wanted to understand
Mm-hmm.
people that grieve their grandparents because
Mm-hmm.
I have not had that process. I don't
Mm-hmm.
have those connections. So, or have those like deep connections in that way. So, yeah, I feel very grateful that I got to truly and deeply understand that process of losing a grandparent
Mm-hmm.
and how it impacts your family. And I really appreciate you coming
Of
here today
course. So much
and
fun.
just sharing all of it just authentically and
Mm-hmm.
deeply. And I feel very, very, very grateful that I got to get to know your parents and your
Mm-hmm.
grandparents because without them, I wouldn't know you. And I feel just so like I love them and
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful that your grandparents had
Mm-hmm.
your parents
Mm-hmm.
and just all those things because I have a friendship that I've always wanted. It's because of
Mm-hmm.
them, and without them, I don't know where I would be. So yeah, I just want to thank them and thank your
Yes.
parents, and yeah,
No,
I feel like
thank you.
feels like thank
Thank
you.
you for this space. I love it.
Yes, I'm very happy you're here. So yeah, I think this is a good place to close out. If you're watching, my cat is here and he's being very, very needy. There's cat hair all over my face. But before we leave, we want to do Flavor Club.
Flavor Club.
Flavor Club. And I want to
Flavor Club.
What's
your flavor?
What's your flavor? Tell me it right now. I wanted to also tell you guys that Cassie is a huge fucking part of this podcast. She actually was the one to help me name the podcast. She's the one to help me with the Flavor Club, because before it was gonna be like called the Unfolding Chapters or something like that, and she really brought the space of like the perspective, I would say, of you're like, well, it doesn't all have to be heavy. Like her true, authentic inner child truly helped me bring this like fun aspect to this podcast.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I wanted to say thank you for helping me name it.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. All the flavors, and I feel like it's such a fun way to like put your feelings into words in a flavor form.
Some people do colors, some people do flavors, some people do animals, whatever else. I think it's just fun to attach it, like what you're feeling in a different way. Kind of lets you process the emotion a little bit more too.
A little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go, what's your flavor? I want to know.
What's your flavor?
Sorry.
I think my flavor, just nostalgic wise, is something we used to eat at my grandma's house. And that's Thin Mints and lemonade. So Thin Mints, it's Girl Scout cookie season. Go get them now. You always put them in the freezer. I don't know if you do that.
I've never done that. My dad has always just eaten them before we even could get to them, so I've never heard of this. So
well, we're gonna get someone to put them in the freezer so she has the full experience.
Yes.
But we'd always get our frozen Thin Mints, and then we'd get some lemonade. Usually it's like Simply lemonade, from the grocery store. We never really made lemonade. We're not that cool.
We're not that cool.
But get your lemonade, and you don't dip it. It's not a dipping situation. It's I ate some Thin Mints. Oh, I'm parched. Let me take a sip of lemonade, and it's kind of like minty, because mint lemonade is good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you may think, ugh, gross.
You might be like, that's disgusting.
It was delicious what we did in the summertime, and that's just
like
I'm feeling.
Nostalgic.
Yeah. What
just
about
a little
you, girl?
My nostalgic is a little weird. I was thinking about my flavor. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say is like, I do not prepare my flavors for any episode whatsoever. It's always on the spot. Yeah, mine is brown sugar. It feels very nostalgic to me because when I when I was little, I would steal brown sugar out of the kitchen and pack it into cups, and then I would hide them under my bed, and then I'd eat them in the middle of the night.
Nighttime snack.
Disgusting, because if you think about how long that sugar has been sitting there, but that's quite nostalgic to me. I feel kind of like comfort and nostalgic by eating cups of brown sugar. And yeah, that's my flavor.
Yeah, love it.
What is your flavor today, guys? I want to know. Tell me. I've been so nice all these past episodes, but I'm demanding it now.
Yeah,
I want to know.
tell us.
Please tell me how you are. I want to connect with you. It's the comment section down below.
Comment.
That is our flavor club.
Is.
And if you don't want to comment down below, please DM it to me on Instagram. I'll link my Instagram down below. I will also be linking Cassie's Instagram for the dance classes if you're interested in the dance classes. So yes, please connect.
Yes, and comment down below if you ever ate Thin Mints and lemonade.
Oh yeah,
I'm really
I want
to know if that's a thing or we made that up.
It's just
if you are wanting to try it and you do, let us know what you think.
I want to know because I've never had Thin Mints in freaking lemonade or have put them in my freezer. I've never done that, but I want to know. Yeah.
Let us know.
Oh yeah. Also, let me know if you also stole cups of brown sugar and shoved them underneath your bed,
or if you hoarded any type of food in your childhood bedroom.
Oh yeah. What's your secret snack? Oh, what's your like nostalgic like secret snack?
Yeah.
Like, how are you feeling in this moment after like listening to this episode?
Yeah. Like, did you ever take the chocolate syrup out of the fridge and like, you know what I mean?
Or get a little crazy with it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I want to know. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for connecting with us today. If this is for someone that you know, like one of your loved ones are going through this process of what Cassie talked about, please share, please like, and subscribe, all the things, because it is going to get us out there to people that truly need it and truly need connection. So I love you so much. Thank you so
Yes.
much for coming,
Thank
and we will see you
you.
next time. Bye.
Bye.
Mwah. Say bye, Marlon.
Bye,
You said
Marlene.
bye, Marlon.
Marlene, I'm so surprised.
Say bye, Marlon. Say